Brainsmasher. My eyes are up here. I posted this shirt on Instagram the other day, and I got a lot of flack for it. So I want to send you a personal invitation. If this shirt offends you, you are welcome to fuck off out the door and unsubscribe from my channel. I would love it if you would do that. Are you getting sick of my collection updates yet? Neither am I. Let's pound on the table. This is a weird fucking beer. Chonk Sunday Sour. This thing's got fucking bananas and mangoes and guavas and shit in it. Every time I go to the beer store, it's all fucking hazy IPAs and you want to get stand it. And everything that isn't IPA anymore is like some fucking birthday cake, kid cookie, mango shake sour thing. And I'm kind of here for it. I'm good with it. So, in this collection update campaign, we're doing 10 releases at a time. No more, no less, unless I forget to do one. In which case, I will make up for it in the next video. In the background, one of them, let's get to it. Let's hold off a little bit. Cool your jets. Let's get myself situated here. Couple of tapes, couple of CDs, all of this stuff. Real choice cuts that you're going to want to lick into. So, let's get a cassette out of the way. Avernus, with their, I'm not sure if this is their debut. This is a demo called Sadness. Avernus have a ton of demo cassette releases, singles, kind of little one-off things. They have a demo CD compilation that I kind of want to get based on the strength of this. Avernus are kind of a band that were just kind of always around. They're from Chicago. Kind of a romantic doom kind of thing. I want to say I have 2 of their albums and they're okay. They don't really hold up. They aren't really worth remembering. But homie from Arcane Archivist sent me his copy of this Sadness demo, and I'm really loving this. Really My Dying Bride-ish kind of stuff. There's some kind of string accoutrements going on into it. Pro cassette there. And yeah, this came out in, let's have a look here. Let's get a number out there. I don't fucking know. 1994. Good year. There's the band there. I feel like I'm a little too far away, so whatever, I'll deal with it. Good stuff. If you're, kind of getting into the whole Death Doom thing, there's been a real resurgence of that kind of thing. Seek this out. I want to say that CD demo compilation has this on it. About 50% sure that it does. Probably worth getting. From what I can tell, it looks like it's one of those super cheap Discogs buys. So I think I'm probably going to be getting that and checking out more Avernus demo stuff. And maybe revisiting the couple of full lengths that I already have in the collection. Just to see if maybe they kind of strike a nerve like this did. Really good. And funny enough, this is one of the very first releases that Sarah Jezebel, nope, totally wrong, Kim Goss sings on. Where do I know Kim Goss from? I'm just realizing now that that's a name that I get like mixed up with Sarah Jezebel Gala. So I'm going to put some information here that'll explain what I just totally fucked up. Another cassette, how about it? Sanctuarium with Cadaveric Reminiscence. This is a 3-track demo from a Spanish Death Doom project, 2021. I think it was just like a Bandcamp only release, and Gurgling Gore put this guy out on cassette. The homie Nightmare Imagery recommended this to me. Never lets me down. Yeah, just a cute little boutique-y sort of Death Doom kind of thing. Real nasty, grim, and raw sounding. Looking forward to seeing what they come up with next. Check out that artwork. Check it out. We've got Mausoleum of Rotten Corpses, Cadaveric Reminiscence, Suffering, and Death. This appears to be just like this youngster who's just like churning out tons and tons and tons of demos. He's got like a dungeon synth project and like a black metal kind of thing going on. One of those kind of prodigies coming out. So how about we talk about what's going on behind me? Really, really cool. So this is probably the longest I have ever waited for a release to come into my mailbox. It was probably March 2020 when this was released. Something happened in the spring of 2020 that still plagues us today, but it caused Germany to not be able to send things to the United States. So this is Dammerfarben's third full-length German words, and I'll be honest, their album covers all look pretty much like this. There's like a yellow one. And this is funny enough, this is actually like a re-recording of some of their demo tracks, limited to 500 copies on Northern Silence. So my buddy Austin plays drums on this. You might know him from Panopticon. And this really feels like a kind of picking up where Falls of Raros' The Light That Dwells in Rotten Wood kind of left off, in a way. And it's like, I love that album, and I love that Austin's playing is added to that album. So to be able to kind of revisit that in a way, and kind of enjoy Austin's drumming in something other than a Panopticon context is really, really fun. And Dammerfarben is fucking awesome. They're a German kind of dark metal band with tons and tons of melodic, sorrowful, mournful songs and lyrics. There's a lot of like cello here and there. It's just really like contemplative and emotive. So anyways, I ordered this in the beginning of the pandemic, and the guy in the band emailed me and he was like, sorry dude, I can't mail you this thing. Germany's not letting me send out CDs to the US right now. I'm just gonna, check in every once in a while, and we will, I'll let you know when I can send it to you. So I probably waited something like 8 months or something, checked in with them, and I was like, hey, are they sending CDs yet? And he was like, nope. So I checked in with him periodically every once in a while until finally, like maybe back in March or so of this year, I was like, all right, dude, let's just call it. I actually found that there are distros in the United States that have copies of this, so if you just want to keep my money, I don't care, whatever. We'll just call it good, all right? So he's like, okay, fine. I'll send you back your money. I'm really sorry that was so egregious. So I wound up using the money to buy a copy of this on Bandcamp, and then this shows up from Germany, from Patrick of Dammerfarben. He wound up sending this even though he refunded me the money. So, like, the longest, weirdest journey of like emails back and forth, saying that he couldn't send stuff when I kind of knew he could have sent stuff, or like, how did Northern Silence send copies of this thing out of Germany to the United States when Patrick couldn't? I don't know. It is a wonderful album, and I hope you can tell over my shoulder. Man, this really tastes more like a guava milkshake than beer. It's insane. A couple of fucking absolute banger CDs here. I have had this in my wish list for so long. This album has been out of print for a millennia, it seems. I've never had a physical copy of this, but this is one of those download albums that I've had somehow for years. I'm not sure how I found out about it, but probably when I was like 19 years old or so, I was checking out rare thrash metal albums or something. And Invocator's Excursion Demise has just kind of always been there for me. It's one of those albums I return to a lot on my phone, on my laptop, just wherever I feel like putting something in. This, as well as Forced Entries, Bone Crackin' Fever. Is that what it's called? Is that the song? I'm not sure. I'm delirious. I've been drinking. Things are getting a little twisted. But fucking Hammerheart Records finally reissued this badass motherfucker. This is so good. Brutal, brutal thrash. We're talking 91? 91! Turns out I know a thing. So, if that album cover isn't selling you enough on this badass thing, it's just... I can't understand how these guys wrote so many insanely good riffs after riff, after riff, after riff. It's so delectable, complex, and devastatingly heavy. Oh, this... Like, I don't understand why people aren't losing their goddamn mind over this album. It's a crime that this hasn't been reissued until now. So, Hammerheart did this with the demos on a double disc. So it's cool to have the demos there included. They are really, really excellent. A lot of times I kind of like, I love the album, but I don't really care so much about the demos and this kind of thing. But I put it in and they fucking absolutely smoke, and they aren't just songs from the album. So like, you really can't go wrong with this thing. Mandatory collage of beer drinking pictures with blue jeans and stuff. So Invocator were a Dutch thrash metal band. They had a couple of albums. I want to say this was originally released on Black Mark, which is why it's been super out of print. I might be wrong there. Their second album was on Black Mark, and I do have a copy of that. But I've always wanted to get Excursion Demise, and now I have it, and fuck, I listen to this thing 4 or 5 times a day for like a week. Ugh, it's so fucking good. I can't recommend Invocator's Excursion Demise to you enough. Gotta get on that. Also got this in Mycorrhizae demo 2021. Might not have a title, might be self-titled. But this is some really, really black metal. Think like maybe kind of Utahite, if it was maybe a little more, a little less insanely alien. So it's like a mushroom theme, kind of high-end, super harmonious kind of black metal from former members of False. So it's awesome to see him just be super productive, belting out tons and tons of demos. I really wish I could have gone to see College Cat a couple of weeks ago in Minneapolis, but sadly that never happened. So Travis has started a label called Big Bovine Industries, and he's just cranking out tons of Bandcamp tapes, and they're just selling out like hotcakes. And this is one that I just happened to manage to get one of the very last copies of. So like, it's very much a new school of kind of bedroom black metal, I guess, if you would say, but it doesn't really sound like bedroom black metal necessarily. It's very, very complex, and he's a talented as fuck guitar player, and it's very weird. It's really, I love it when you put a demo in and you're not like, huh, okay, this is good like a lot of other things. Mycorrhizae is a demo that you put in and you're like, this is very different, and I am going here with you, and I will listen to this more often, and I will grow as a person as I understand the artist's image. And this is very, very cool. I look forward to hearing what he does next. Another CD, Black Winds with Origin. So I'm a big fan of Cythereal's Nord. The second album is also pretty good, but the drummer on Nord went on to do some work with Blotmine, a couple of amazing albums there, and then I'm kind of not sure, but this is what he did after that for a little bit of time. So they did like a 7-inch and maybe an EP or something. So this compiles the 7-inch, I believe, and the demo and some unreleased stuff. And if anybody is willing to get this dressed up for their black metal album, demo, whatever it is, it's worth at least giving a listen to, especially if it's from Sweden, and especially if it, has members from Cythereal. Is this nearly as good as Cythereal or Blotmine? No, not whatsoever. But amazing late 90s Swedish black metal with awesome blasting dark fucking drums. Yeah, this is that. It's very run of the mill for that time period, which I enjoy kind of revisiting time to time. So it is pretty good. You've really got to crave this kind of thing, I think, for it to hit the mark. I more or less just kind of always wanted to get a copy of this, and I was really surprised that I couldn't find copies of this in the United States. I think I wound up getting this from a guy in France or something for like €5 or something. It's not expensive. There just aren't many copies of this floating around the U.S. because not a lot of people, I think, know that this project ever happened. It's on Nightmare Productions. Yeah, Black Wind's Origin. If you're a super fan of Bloatmane or Cythereal, that's a nice compendium piece to kind of enjoy as some leftover sort of tracks from that kind of style. Frothy, fruity. Also, Nightmare Imagery suggested that I pick this up. This is a band name that I was kind of seeing around, didn't really know much about. But once I put my hands on this thing and picked it up, I had to take it home. This band is called Writhing Shadows. Read that sticker. I believe this is self-titled, yeah, full length on Dawnbreed / Gore. These dudes are from the, I want to say Alabama, maybe Georgia, southeast United States. Really, really bringing the bolt thrower styles big time. And like that is enough to interest me, but I'm gonna need a little bit more to keep me hooked. And Writhing Shadows delivers just exactly that. They've got a very interesting kind of sound to them. Sonically, they definitely are working with a bolt thrower kind of template, but they are not amateurish enough to lack a personality. They've definitely developed a sound that is, you know, developed and influenced from those styles of like English 90s death metal, giving it a kind of a new American flair to it. And the sound, I don't really know how else to describe it. It sounds like bolt throwers, maybe War Master drenched in oil, just seeping with machine oil. That's all I can really think of to describe it. It sounds kind of muddy, kind of murky in a really, really strong way. It just exudes a lot of personality. I probably listened to this thing about 6 or 7 times in a row. Really, really awesome stuff, and I can't wait to hear what they do next. Worth checking out, Writhing Shadows. I'm kind of surprised I don't see that name out there a lot more, but I can't control this fucking place. I'm barely keeping the lights on. Upside Down Church is another YouTuber that I found out about this release from. Now, I was a fan of this release for years, but I didn't know this was getting reissued on tape until dude posted this on Instagram, and I immediately bought a copy for myself and a copy for my homie Cal. Dissonant Tapes put this out. Crystal Age, Far Beyond Divine Horizons. I don't know what to tell you guys. If you haven't listened to this already, you're missing out. This is... God. There's just no words to describe how intensely technical and cantankerous this album is. It's divine. It's absolutely amazing. Swedish tech death. But before that was a bad thing. This came out in 1995 originally. You'll see the flag for this album in some of my videos in the background. I want to make sure I highlight for you the band photo. Homie is wearing shin guards. And anytime, there's kind of a rule in metal that if you know, you know. If a band is wearing like full metal shin guards, you're in for great riffs. Prove me wrong. Check out this variant. It's got like some kind of slime green innards in there. So yeah, just had to have this on every format. I've got an OG press of this on CD, and I believe a label called Speaks Volumes is supposed to be putting this out on LP with the demo sometime soon. I haven't heard from them in a while. Hoping that comes to fruition. I believe it's already been mastered, but final delays right now. Oh, holy shit. So I hope that me doing these CD and tape videos kind of gets you more interested in formats that aren't vinyl. Because, man, the backup right now is just killing so much. Killing so much of this. I did a full review of this album today. Negative Planes, new one, The Pact. So you can look forward to that fairly soon. But I feel like I say this quite often now, but I have not been this obsessed with an album in a really long time. Dropped into my mailbox maybe on Monday or so, and this is literally all I've listened to all week. It's amazing. It makes, so I'm loving this album for sure. I definitely loved Stained Glass Revelations, but I haven't probably listened to that thing in a couple of years, and I'm realizing I haven't even listened to this band's first release that came out in 2006. So it's been 11 years since these guys put out anything, and it's flawless. It's absolutely brilliant, marrying tons of different 80s kind of first wave black metal styles, also maybe a little bit of kind of traditional heavy metal kind of guitar riffing. I'm even hearing some Randy Rhoads kind of riffing, definitely some kind of like fun, playful Iron Maiden kind of finger tap leads all over the place, but then you're getting like tons of Master's Hammer kind of stuff. Coroner is all over the place. This is such an amalgam of the 80s first wave black metal kind of stuff that's the kind of stuff that I don't ordinarily reach for, because it just isn't what it wasn't my first love, let's just say that. So what Negative Plane are doing, I think, as an homage to those bands for sure, but also as a service to, I think, like second wave fans like me, they've got a sinister, really dark kind of style of making it more of a familiar as second wave black metal kind of thing, mostly vocally. The vocals are kind of shouty and kind of snarly. They've got a lot of kind of delayed reverb on them, and there's a very, very signature tone and mix to Negative Plane's sound. The drums are kind of floppy sounding. They've got a signature kind of sound to them. So in those ways, sonically, they are kind of aesthetically second wave black metal, which makes it a little bit more palatable for someone like me to enjoy all the very first wave, very early guitar work based black metal that a lot of the older generation tends to love. So your Merciful Fate fans, gotta check this out. I am raving about this thing to everyone I know. Absolutely love it. Album of the year contender, possibly. So last but not least, this is not a metal release, so I won't be offended if you turn off on this. But this is a band I listen to very, very regularly when I'm not in the mood for metal. Honestly, it doesn't matter what mood I'm in. Sometimes I listen to Thingy for hours on end. I absolutely am fascinated with this band. This is called Songs About Angels and Devils and Running Around on Fire. Yes, that is it. Thingy were a Southern California alternative rock band, but honestly, forget every single thing you know about an alternative rock band. This band is so fun, and I just don't know how to describe them. They're so unique. They have very, very clean guitar sounds, very, very like bass driven. Their vocals are kind of like softly spoken. And they kind of marry the riffs very oddly. They're very kind of rhythmic, minded, if you will. It's kind of like really tumultuous, kind of complex drums and bass with kind of clean guitars, like accenting the music. And the vocals are kind of almost chanted or like monotonously kind of spoken in a way. It's very subtle, and it makes their complexity very palatable and I think approachable in a way. And their songs are really catchy and weird and kind of short and fun. It's the kind of thing like if I had a bunch of friends hanging outside and like not everybody was a metalhead, this is the kind of thing I think that would be really fun, playful to listen to. And it's the kind of thing like a lot of people can enjoy. They did this one and I believe another album that I'm not remembering the name of, but then 2 or 3 years ago they released an album called Morbid Curiosity that is probably their best work, and this was released in '97. So they did like 2 albums in the late '90s, and then this album Morbid Curiosity a couple of years ago, which is impossible to get your hands on. This thing is actually very, very rare. Ordinarily goes for about $50 on Discogs. I found a copy for 20, so finally decided to bite the bullet on this guy. You might know Pinback. I think one of the members of Pinback is in this band. I don't really know much of anything about Pinback, but for me, this is one of those bands that just holds a really special place in my heart. I found out about them from an ex-girlfriend of mine who sadly passed away last year. So, kind of revisiting this band and just kind of remembering the good times that we had in our relationship through this album has been kind of a nice cathartic way of kind of dealing with her loss. There's a certain song on here, Wave of Depression. That song was the song that she introduced me to this band through. And that song, if you're interested at all, start with Wave of Depression and see if that sparks anything in you for this. There's 24 songs on this thing, and it is absolutely fun, playful, and just endearing. So there are 10 albums. You know what to do. Yeah, we hope to see you again later. Woo-hoo! That was a great video. And it was made possible mostly by me, but also thanks to the never-ending, undying love and support of my Patreon subscribers, some of whom are... If you would like to be a part of supporting my channel and encouraging me to make more content that's as good as the one you just watched, join the Patreon. It's $6.66 a month, and I would appreciate your support. Thanks for watching either way.